Lilith just came out with a new face-to-face with developers, which is something that they drop about once a month. It's got major implications for a KvK2, KvK3 migration, which, if you're following this channel at all, I will be doing, so it impacts me a lot. And then also a lot of stuff with the upcoming Osiris League and the Osiris League format with the fog and all that good stuff. So stick around, we're going to dissect it all. Hello and welcome back. I know I haven't done a video like this before, and I usually don't, but because this pertains so much to this channel and kind of what my goals are, I figured it'd be good to go over, and honestly, it's good for you guys anyway. So I'm not just going to read over, I'm going to give my, in-depth analysis and things of that nature, so why don't we hop right into it. Following the recent release of a large amount of new content, the developers have received lots of suggestions and inquiries. So we have selected and answered some of the most highly discussed issues in the communities and shared our subsequent development plans. We hope you will find the information helpful. Please feel free to tell us about your thoughts on the new content via the communities, like the Facebooks and all the Discords and all that good stuff. We will collect everyone's opinion for reference and provide further explanations. So I will say, normally, every kind of game company says, hey, let us know and, we'll give us feedback and we'll adjust the game. There's something not in this patch note that I actually suggested, and it's regarding the friend accept and decline request that you can do right now. And in fact, you can't actually do the decline a friend request. I put that in as a suggestion. Hey, you should be able to block friend requests. I also put in a blocking and muting a person. So if we actually hop in game, if you go to, I don't know, let's just pick on this guy real quick. You can hit this block button right here, which will block them. However, they can still send you in-game mail. So then you have to block them again for mail, which is kind of strange, right? Because you have to block somebody twice, and that doesn't really make sense. So I suggested that they form all that into one block button. And actually, I got a VIP response the other day that said that they're going to implement it, and I'll show it up on screen right now. But look, so they do actually listen to your feedback, so go ahead and, maybe you have to be a VIP in order for them to listen, but it's always good for you to submit your feedback, because then we get development updates like this. Alright, so let's hop into the first question, which is actually regarding Thutmose. So a commander that in Season of Conquest no one really uses, because his active skill is only 1,000, right? It's not very good. But in the early game, he's actually very, very strong. Debatably, like a YSG almost, he's very tanky for an archer, and you'll see he's going to get even tankier. So I wish to learn more about the balance adjustments of some of Thutmose III's skills mentioned in previous commander adjustment announcement. Will the museum buffs be affected? First of all, the museum was already nerfed. It used to give, and we're going to go into the museum here, it used to give 30% of both stats when they came out with this whole double relic thing. So if you go into view here, right now it gives 15-15 as one relic, but if it gave two, see now it's only giving 25 and 20. It used to be 30 and 30. What I think happened, and they never said this officially, I think it was actually too strong. It was going to be like better than Season of Conquest commanders, and they're like, whoa, pull it back, way too good, and they nerfed this. So the museum has already been affected. So I don't think any more museum changes are going to happen to Thutmose. However, as stated in this face-to-face, right? So we are very sorry for not explaining and the adjustments clearly in the announcements and the inconvenience cost. Thutmose III buffs in museum will not be affected because they've already been affected. The balance adjustments are targeted for Thutmose's skills Might of Thebes, which is his expertise skill. The details are as follows. Previously, after using Nexus skill, troops deal 30% more normal attack damage for 3 seconds. Can occur once every 8 seconds. Now, it's just getting a straight, flat buff for his expertise, which is archer units now take 10%, or 10%, 5% less damage from infantry units, and then the rest of the skill is the same. So, like I said, he was already really good for early KvKs. Do I think this is going to affect late game at all? No, no one's going to use Thutmose still, but in KvK 2, no longer KvK 3. Well, we'll get to that. But KvK 2, he will now continue to be used as a rally lead. Does this make like Thutmose YSG better than Edward YSG or like Edward Tommy for rallies? I have no idea, but I'll be migrating back there eventually, so I'll get that answer for you. But for now, straight buff to Thutmose doesn't do much, but does something. Alright, next, let's keep going. As Season of Conquest Commanders are made available in Season 3, this is big, Season of Conquest governors can immigrate to Season 3 directly. This is very unfair to local governors. obviously. One of my biggest critiques of this game in general is that there is no real catch-up mechanic. You can have a new player start out, and no matter what they do, they're going to be years behind a old player's account. Even like gigantic whales like Nephisto or whatever, I mean, they were coming into this game spending literally millions of dollars, and they were still behind older accounts, and there's nothing they can do about it, right? There's no catch-up mechanic. There's no like, hey, you joined this game 3 years later than everybody else. Why don't you just get 3 choice expertise commanders that you get once you get to season 4, or in this case now season 3, right? There's no mechanic like that in the game, and it's really kind of unfair. But no matter what, there's always going to be this unfair aspect of migrating back to an earlier season. But they try to address this. So they say that this issue has come to our attention. The difference between immigrant governors and local governors has indeed become apparent after Season of Conquest commanders are made available to Season 3. This was apparent before they were able to immigrate to Season 3, but now it's going to be even worse because you're going to have Guan Scipio, Boudica Waishi, and Nevsky Joan hitting a Sun Tzu on a 20 million power commander. It's going to be pretty disgusting. I can't wait to do it. Sorry, I know I'm a scum, but it's gross, right? It's gross. To ensure a good game experience for local governors and meet the cross-season immigration needs of Season of Conquest governors, yay, we consider adjusting the cross-season immigration limit for Season 2 and Season 3. The immigration governor quota will be increased from 30 to 50 for kingdoms in Season 2 and will be changed from 30 to 0 for kingdoms in Season 3. Essentially, that means that there is no more migration to Season 3, right? You can only migrate back to Season 2, and you get 50 players. And those 50 players better have meta rallies, meta garrisons, right? For meta open field for your kingdom, because those 50 players are going to carry your kingdom, right? That's just how it's going to work in the early game. And if you get 50 migrants and they don't have like Tark Pakal and Tark Sargon as infantry rallies, and you don't have a archer rally, I mean, you're going to be so outclassed against a proper kingdom that does have that. So while they're increasing the slots, it's even harder now to migrate back, because you can't just have like, oh yes, I have Alex YSG expertise and I have Charles because I've been working on him for you. Now you need rallies, you need garrisons, you need all this stuff. So it's crazy. You need meta stuff. One thing that also needs to be mentioned is that there is still no way for the king of a kingdom to determine who comes in, right? If I was in a competitive environment, like really competitive, this was an esport, right? Like all that good stuff, right? And I had to compete against one other kingdom, and I knew what kingdom I wanted to play against and compete against, I would go in and make 50 farm accounts and get them all into that kingdom as fast as possible to take up all of their migration slots. There's still no way for us to regulate those troll accounts and the 10 million power account, like all those random accounts from Season of Conquest that come into Season 2 because they have like their Charles at 5512 and they think that they can finally get some kills after they've been playing for 4 years. Sorry, free to play. No, but even if you're free to play, you'll be better than that. It's basically just the inactive players who want to go back to Season 2 because they don't really know what they're doing, right? There's no way for kings or migration, whoever, diplomacy, whatever, for them to compare and really just hand select the people that they want in their kingdom. And I think that really needs to be addressed. So we'll see if they do anything about it, but probably not. And lastly, right, this is what I was just talking about. The adjustment on the usability of Season 3 commanders and the availability of Season of Conquest commanders are in line with the recent matchmaking adjustments for the kingdoms that enter Season of Conquest for the first time, and the Season of Conquest immigration adjustments. This is to give kingdoms and governors sufficient time to develop before entering Season of Conquest. Great, that's awesome. What I almost wish would happen is that you're brand new, and a lot of brand new players don't know that more commanders exist. They just see, they scroll down to the very bottom, right? Like they do this, and if you're a new commander, right, you don't even see all these like fancy new commanders. You only see the gold key commanders, so they don't even know what's good. So they should make it apparent that those are an option. Like I don't understand where, like give them a choice between, oh well, Richard's really good. I see everyone using Richard, but like it's not a good commander in the late game. So anyway, I'm rambling a lot. Let's just keep going. I probably lost my spot. It's fine. This is to give kingdoms and governors sufficient time to develop before a season conquers and to help them go through the transition smoothly. We will constantly pay attention to the issue of game ecology in the future. Please feel free to share your opinion. So, while I do think this is good, I just think maybe all Season of Conquest commanders can't be used from the start. I do like the idea of an earlier KvK with different commanders, but make them known to the player base. Like, no new player who isn't sub to my channel, no, but probably like Chizgul or Shinchi, right? All those big YouTubers will know that any of these commanders exist, so they're just going to run and put gold heads into the best commanders that they have currently. And I think that they should be able to play this game without extreme guidance. So anyway, that's my rant. Let's get on to the next one. Alright, so let's keep going. The attributes of leadership equipment are too weak and do not provide enough advantages for a single unit type. So without even answering the answer here, this is just a question that I feel like Lilith put in here to be like, right? Like, duh, right? I mean, leadership equipment from the get-go was meant for your very niche, like, solo leadership. Like, you have a third archers, a third infantry, a third cavalry, like Heraclius YSS city garrison. That is the only reason leadership gear exists. You should not craft it if you're like, I want to craft a full set of cav gear, but I want the leadership gloves, or the, you know, like, that's not why they're in the game. So I imagine that's what they're going to say here. In fact, I know it's what they say because I've already read this, but let's go over it. So they say, in order to enrich our governors' gaming experience, we'd like to see governors develop more specialized equipment for specific unit types. Rather than everyone using universal equipment that affects all unit types, leadership equipment is designed to complement the bonuses that leadership commanders provide to mixed unit troops. It is not designed to be used with every commander or unit type as a catch-all equipment type. Yes, good, perfect. Get that out of the way. Alright, let's keep going. KvK battles are imbalanced or unbalanced due to the significant difference in the number of active governors among kingdoms. Yes, so the one thing that Lilith has done a great job of keeping hidden from the player base is exactly how matchmaking is done. I have VIP support. I have tried to get that answer from them forever because my kingdom, along with a lot of others, do this downtime where we do maybe 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 days of complete inactivity. You don't do bar force, you don't gather, you don't talk in chat even. Like, you don't complete your daily things for the 100 gems, right? Daily objectives. So how do they balance it? Nobody has any idea. So, or we have a slight idea, but nobody knows for sure. So they say, thank you for your feedback. Please be rest assured that the issue has already come to our notice. As time passes, the difference in the number of active governors among kingdoms in the game has widened. Some kingdoms have populations that exceed normal values, resulting in a series of problems such as the unbalanced kingdom power in KvK battles and the difficulty in matching opponents for kingdoms. So just everyone knows, or if you don't know, KvK matchmaking is determined by the top 300 players by power. So the goal of a lot of these kingdoms is once you reach 300 players with a decent sized power, then you want to stuff as many players as you can under that 300 power limit. So if your top 300 stops at like 70 or 80, let's just say for the sake of the video 50, because 50 is reasonable for a lot of kingdoms, then you want like 1 million players. I mean, that's not going to happen, right? But you want, in a perfect world, like 1 million players at 49,000 or 49,999,999 power who are active and fight, right? Because they're not going to be considered into KvK matchmaking, and you're going to have a ton more fighters than your opponents, right? So that's what they're addressing here. They're also kind of hinting at dead weight being like a large factor. We had a lot of players leave and quit mid KvK this time around, and that affected our matchmaking. Now, thankfully, we won because we had really strong allies, but even still, dead weight's always been an issue. It shouldn't kill your kingdom so majorly, right? Anyway, so we are actively exploring targeted solutions for this issue. In the future, we will implement a series of adjustments, such as setting a limit to the number of registrants for a single kingdom in KvK, and put scarcely populated kingdoms on the same server. This is the big thing, right? So basically for your super dead kingdoms, your DCs, right? My original kingdom that I came from before I came here, right? super, super dead servers, they can actually merge them now to become more active, which I think is great. I think it's what they're doing in Call of Dragons as well. This is a great change. We welcome your opinions regarding this issue, and we'll take into account your suggestions in formulating the final adjustments. Great changes. Anything that they have to do with matchmaking that makes it more fair, I'm all on board for, so keep it coming. Okay, next we have the Ark of Osiris changes, or maybe not changes, but regards to Ark League. So, following the launching of Ark of Osiris, Raging Sands, and the announcements to the Osiris League new season, many of you have approached us with questions regarding 2 events. We have summarized and answered those questions below. Question 1. There are too few Pioneer slots for Ark of Osiris, Raging Sands, and I'm unable to register for it. They say, thank you for your feedback. Many of you have registered for Ark of Osiris, Raging Sands once it is launched, and we have decided to open more registration slots giving the overwhelming response. Cool, great. However, considering this is a Pioneer event, potential issues such as technical difficulties and design defects might arise. Look, I would rather not play Ark of Osiris Raging Sands if I'm playing a PowerPoint slideshow, same with the lag, right? So, find a good balance there, Lilith. Have as many people play it, but don't make it terrible. I don't want to be crashing mid-game. It's just not great. So to prevent these issues from causing a large-scale negative impact, we have no choice but to limit the participants. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience. I agree with this. It's kind of a bummer, but it's like a beta for, you know, World of Warcraft or any game, right? Like, it's going to be buggy. You can't have too many people on it. That's why they have beta keys. The servers are only so big. Next, we have, will the new rules and gameplay of Ark of Osiris Raging Sands take effect in the new season of Osiris League? For all governors to experience more diverse and tactical game modes, all battles in the season will feature the Raging Sands mode. The formation and armament buffs on the battlefield of Ark of Osiris practice match will be disabled temporarily to help governors better prepare and develop strategies in advance for the battles. This is also to make sure that practice matches reflect the battlefield in Osiris League. So, 2 things. One is that all matches in Osiris League will now have complete fog over them. It'll be interesting. That'll be great. The second is that testing in Ark of Osiris practice matches, which you might see popularized by Chizgul or any other streamer, is now no longer going to feature armaments, which is great because there's so much effing randomness in those things that people just end up taking them off to really see the power level of commanders anyway. So now they're not going to have to go through that extra step when we're doing all those testing. But also, as far as practicing for those Osiris League, they're not going to have to deal with those either. So that'll be great. Lastly, we have will armaments and formations buffs take effect in this season of Osiris League. They will be temporarily disabled in the season of Osiris League. That's great. That's kind of what I was going to guess if they're being locked in the practice matches. That makes sense. And then when will it start? It'll start at the end of May. Awesome, just in time for my birthday. I'm not a great bettor when it comes to this. Generally, you just take 1v and 60 GT until they get to the finals, and then voila. But yeah, so anyway, I'll try to cover that a little bit, but yeah, that's been this whole face-to-face with the developers. So all in all, I think great changes. I'm not disappointed with anything that I see. I will say it'll be very interesting to see how KvK 3 recruitment works. I think this new Ark League will be interesting because, you know, 1v and 60 GT have been dominating for so long that maybe this fog has something to do with their strategy. I think that would be really interesting. You know, next, I think a lot of the gear change and, you know, the Thutmose Change won't really affect anything. But either way, it's been pretty important regardless. And any sort of feedback and communication with the players is always great. So anytime Lilith does that, I'm on board for it. I don't have my boosts running or my gathers running while I am terrible. But yeah, so anyway, some updates on the KvK. You know, we won. More videos to follow. Like and sub. I'll be around, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and peace out.